Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If I sound like I'm sick, it's because I am. The lighting is kind of bad, but it's because it's like, I don't know, it's already dark outside and it's 5. It's low-key a cozy day, like it's a good day to be reading, except other than the fact that it's literally so humid outside. I literally am like dying of how humid it is. Anyways, welcome back to my second episode of my brand new series of ranking every book in blank series. If you haven't seen the first episode, I did the Hunger Games, so I really recommend you go check that out. And I will have a playlist for all these videos on my channel, so if you want to binge watch, then go ahead and go at it, girl. Today, the series that we are doing is we are going to be ranking every Harry Potter book in the Harry Potter series. I don't think a lot of people really need introduction on this series. You've probably seen like one movie without even realizing it, and yeah, I would recommend to go read the books. So a little backstory on my relationship to this series. I actually watched the movies all of my childhood. I've seen the movies so many times. It wasn't until 2020, COVID year, quarantine, that summer where I sat down and I read all the books in like 6 days. I think a lot of my ranking has to do with how I felt when I read the books. Like, I recently talked to a group of friends where we were talking about what our favorite Harry Potter book was. And I thought my favorite was like one of the least favorites. And you'll see why I think that way. Then he proceeded to tell me that like it was one of the like everyone's favorite. So let's actually start ranking every Harry Potter book. Please don't hate me. I already know what's coming. In 7th place, I put Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Don't get me wrong, this book is good. I like the plot. I really enjoy Hermione's time turner like mystery. And I also like the whole travel back in time adventure that happens. I think that's genius. And the reveal was pretty shocking too. However, I think if you haven't read the books, you wouldn't really understand as much. But I don't like Sirius' character. I feel for him. That man was in prison for the longest time, so I understand what that can do to a man. Disregarding that, I don't really like the Marauders that much, which I'm gonna hurt a lot of people's hearts. I'm sorry, please don't come after me. Please stay. I don't think they're terrible. They're just not my favorite people, especially of what they used to be. I did not finish this book. I DNF'd this book, kinda. I skipped like a few chapters after like the series reveal because I just couldn't get along with it. So then I just skipped to the end and read the end. Technically, this is my only DNF'd book out of the whole series. That's why it's at the bottom. At number 6, the next book we have is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Philosopher. The Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. No! What if I just say Sorcerer's Stone? I'm American. It's fine. Number 6, we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It's a great start to the series. It's very captivating immediately. I love how it first introduces you in the book following Mr. Dursley and like the Muggles, because you don't know anything. So yeah, this is gonna be freaking strange to you. It's really funny and lighthearted compared to all the other books. This book is really only down here in the ranking because of the fact it is the first book. It's shorter. I think it's the shortest book out of all of them. The plot is lackluster compared to the rest of the books, which it's just, the first book syndrome is what I like to call it, where the first book is always usually ranked more towards the bottom because it's the first book. Yeah, that's all I really have about that book. It's just there because of, it was the first in the series. Number 5, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I actually really like this book when you compare it to the movie. A lot of people really like the Goblet of Fire movie. And I'm gonna say that these people are people who haven't read the books, which is chill. But as someone who now read the books, and I want to know your opinion, who also read the books, if you actually like the Goblet of Fire movie, there's just a lot of unnecessary things that were put into the Goblet of Fire that shouldn't have been there. They cut all these important things. Going back to the book, this book is really good. I love the whole like betraying feeling I got when I found out like the whole reason Harry was in the Triwizard Tournament was because he was trying to, He was getting sacrificed for Lord Voldemort. I can't speak. I thought the teenage drama was mixed pretty okay. I love romance in books, but obviously this is different. It's like a subplot. However, when the subplot becomes, I don't know the word for it, but when it becomes too much, it has to work well with the story. It's harder to add subplot to a book that already has mystery established, or like already has its genre and its flow established. And it isn't bad, it's just I feel like it could have been done better, and that's why it's probably ranked lower. I just hate the movie so much that I think it might affect also why this is ranked lower, which is not fair. I'm not saying that this is a bad book. I love this book. It's pretty good. The other ones I just like a little bit more. So going to number 4, we have Harry Potter and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This book I feel like gets a lot more hate than it actually deserves. The number one excuse is saying the pacing, which I can understand because it's a whole different progression of a story compared to the other books. The other books had a pretty similar story progression, so I understand that. That didn't affect me reading it. I actually really enjoyed having like a new setting, going outside of Hogwarts. My favorite scenes actually were like when they were in Grimmaud's place, and especially when Harry and Creature were starting to become besties. Angst was pretty strong in this book. Obviously, a lot of characters died. I feel like there's some characters that were unnecessarily killed, and we'll get to that in a second. Some of my cons on this one, I didn't really like Ron in this book, which was such a weird thing because I'm not a huge fan of Ron. He low-key reminds me of my brother. But I didn't hate Ron in the books. I didn't love him in the movies, but in the books, like I thought he was pretty cool. Especially this book. I found him really annoying. I found that whole segment kind of annoying, and I understand where it came from. I think it just felt really unnecessary to me because I don't really ship Hermione and Ron. I don't see them good together. They just butt heads too much. Even Harry and Hermione would be better, but I love Harry and Ginny, so I literally know. So I think that's why I was just annoyed because I didn't feel like it was necessary because it really was for the relationship of Hermione and Ron. I'm so mad that J.K. Rowling killed both Tonks and Lupin. There's no reason to do that. You literally left their kid orphanless. And they had such a tragic like story too, because Lupin like had commitment issues. Finally, when Lupin was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a good father. I'm gonna be in your life, and I promise you, I'm gonna be a great husband and father or whatever," they both die. The ending of this book honestly left me unsatisfied, but I think the reason I felt that way when I read this in 2020, which was 4 years ago, was because I read the series in 6 days. It was all in my brain. So when I finished this book, I just felt really unsatisfied because I finished the series, the world, I guess. I know people can relate to that when you finish a book and you're just like, oh my gosh, take me back. Now we're moving on to the top 3. This next one is a little controversial, I say. In number 3, we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, I think that a bunch of people really hate this book, and I quite frankly don't know why. This is typically mostly the majority people's least favorite book. I love the murder mystery type like vibes I got in this book. I'm also a Harry Potter apologist. I love Harry, so in this book when he was kind of going through it, I fell for him. I really fell for him. Again, the time I was reading this in 2020 where I felt isolated, so when he felt isolated, which he feels a lot throughout the series, I just really felt for him. So I think that's why I have more love for the books in the top 3 because of that reason. A lot of people didn't like the whole car, like the Whomping Willow and Arthur Weasley's car. I'm just a child at heart, but I like that. I just like the book, okay? I like this book. Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. Actually, you know what? It's fine if you hate me. I literally ranked Prisoner of Azkaban as my least favorite book. So, anyway, let's move on to number 2. In second place, we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Now, this book is kind of underrated. You kind of see more of Harry and Dumbledore's relationship. And I'm not like, oh my gosh, I love Dumbledore. Did really like his character. Does that make sense? I also really like this book because of the whole introduction to Horcruxes. So going back to see the memories with Tom Riddle, like that was super cool for me. That's like one of my favorite part of this whole series. Now, this movie, and I don't want to talk about movies, but this movie on the other hand, this was like a terrible movie. You know, I was dogging on Goblet of Fire for being all relationshipy and a little too much about the movie, but like if we're being for real here, this is the worst one. I think the biggest thing I took away from this book was Snape, which obviously Snape is like kind of like the mystery exposed because he's the half-blooded prince. But the end, oh my gosh, I felt betrayed, and I knew it was coming because I watched the movies before. It just felt so unfortunate, especially because Snape was helping Harry with all the like mind stuff. It hurt, and when Harry was like, "You coward!" It hurt so bad. I need to read these books again. Now, number one, obviously everyone knows what book it is because it's the last one. And yes, this book is the book I think a lot of people love now. But when I read this, everyone hated this book because it was so long, because it was so angsty, because Sirius Black's character was just not what they thought he should have been. Agree to disagree because it felt the same as a Prisoner of Azkaban book. Like they felt like the same character, low key. Yeah, my favorite book in the series is The Order of Phoenix. I think the biggest reason this is up here is because the time I read it again in 2020 in isolation. And if you want a book that really makes you feel about isolation from Harry's point of view, it is The Order of the Phoenix. I just remember crying the most in that book. I really, really, really love the story. I really, really love, again, the isolation because, you know, people don't know if they believe in Harry, the fact that Voldemort's back. I love Harry's, like, feelings because he watched Cedric died. We get introduced to Luna Lovegood. Luna the W Lovegood. I know she has two L's in her name, but she's not an L. Two L's make a W, right? Okay, I need to stop. I feel like all the guys at my school right now doing that. The ending, even though Sirius Black's character, I liked him better in the movies, the ending still made me sob. I think I like this book a lot more too because of the characters. All the characters that are not the Golden Trio, because don't get me wrong, I love the Golden Trio. I think I love the Silver Trio more, which that's Ginny, Luna, and Neville. Harry just feeling he has to do it all on his own and just feeling so isolated from the rest of his friends because of the situation he was in. But then realizing he has friends outside of the Golden Trio too, like he has friends that are gonna come along with them. It's just really heartwarming. So yeah, that is my ranking of the Harry Potter series. Let me know what series I should do next. I don't think I can rank any more series based on series I've already read, so it will take me a while because I will have to read the series. And also comment down below what your favorite Harry Potter book is and your least favorite, and I'm curious to see what your guys' opinions are. Pacha. Na, 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 na.